This is the last video of the day. Recently, in the last few days, I think I didn't really make the videos in the evening, but today I decided to make one. Earlier in the day, I was listening to some meditation from YouTube, a channel called Lavender. I think she has some really good meditations. So I was listening to that and also was kind of trying to take a nap around the same time. So I was kind of half asleep and half meditating. It was a good experience. And sometimes they say that those actually do help, and it had some affirmations in it. So those affirmations help with the subconscious mind. And right now I'm actually reading this book, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy, and have a pen in there. So usually I tend to kind of mark some things down if something is really good. So in there it talks about how our conscious mind is like the captain giving the order, and subconscious mind takes the order, carries out the order if it's doesn't matter if it's good or bad. And that is why we have to make sure that when we give the order, we give the good order, meaning anything that is negative or frustrating, if we say that, we kind of, the subconscious believes that, and subconscious has the power to execute that order. And that's where it gets kind of challenging, because so you can probably hear that my daughter is trying to sing or doing something funny with my husband over there. Anyway, I'm glad that she's actually feeling okay, because the surgery is tomorrow. A few days ago she sounded very worried, but fortunately today she's doing okay. We are worried too. I'm very worried as a mom, but doing more or less okay. A friend just texted and wished well for the surgery tomorrow, and said that he's gonna have us in his prayers tonight, which is very nice. We all, as human beings, we are all interconnected, and when we hear other people caring for us, it makes us feel more human, feels better, and helps us to believe more in the community and the goodness of people, goodness in people. That is important for a good life. So anyway, I'm trying to learn. I read things about conscious mind and subconscious mind in the past a lot. This book, they talk about a lot of good things about it. So I'm trying to learn something new, especially what I already don't know. And a lot of times it's about reminding ourselves, because sometimes what ends up happening is we know these things, but we forget. And when we forget, it's almost as good as like not knowing, because we can't apply the rules, the good rules anymore. So I'm hoping I'll get some reminders from the book, and also will be reapply some of those rules. Excuse me, I'm a little sleepy. And I'll be able to reapply some of those rules that I was able to from the past. As I'm talking through this, I randomly remembered this, that the thought of peak and valley. So our thoughts goes peak and valley, peak and valley. And this is the impermanence of things. And peak is, you can think of, it's the good feeling thoughts, and the valley is bad feeling thoughts, and then we have good and bad that happens. And whenever in the valley, some more bad happens, we get more in the valley, unless we have a formula that every time we use. Let's say if you are feeling bad, you go out for a walk or take a shower or things like that. Those are those little formula that can get you a little bit towards the peak, and that's what you got to do to pull yourself out of that sadness or kind of challenging emotions. So I learned from a video from Tony Robbins that he, of course, is a master of this how to control minds. And he talks about, in the beginning of his career, it would bother him if something didn't go in his way or something. It would bother him. But now meaning maybe even 20 years ago, those videos looks like where he would talk about he gives himself 90 seconds to feel bad about something, because his point is there is no point feeling bad or sulking, because no good comes out of that. So when you go from one peak and something pulls you down, you get into the valley and you have to pull yourself up to the peak again. That gap, the peak to peak, is no more than 90 seconds in most of the things. He says these days means maybe in 20 years ago in his life, there are very few things that takes him away more than 90 seconds for him to, when he gets back to the peak. For people like us, is it possible to do 90 seconds? Maybe someday, I don't know. But I at least try to remember that creating this formula, and also these formulas are different for different people. For one person, what works, the same thing may not work for others. So you got to find your own formula, what works. He gives another very good example that, let's say you're making a chocolate cake, and if a good chef who experimented and eventually created a recipe which took him 25 years to master it, and it's an amazing chocolate cake. You could have that exact same recipe and make that exact same chocolate cake maybe in just 1 or 2 tries. So that didn't take you 25 years. So that's all about the recipe, having those all ingredients and the right measurements of the ingredients. So similar things, it's finding the formula. So now in our life situation, we're not always making chocolate cakes, but what resonated with me is especially when you're going through tough times and you have to pull ourselves out and have some sort of miraculous result, to look back in our own lives, especially when we're in midlife. And this channel I made, midlife mindfulness, another form of when people are in midlife crisis, they go into the spirituality and whatnot. In my case also, I dive deep into spirituality, and it helped, and it is still helping. So mindfulness is helping, and other forms of spirituality, reading books related to that, all of that are helping. So yeah, where I was going with that is thinking something from the past where something miraculous happened, and you think through the formula that you used in your life that worked. And sometimes the formulas we use it unknowingly, but when we look back, when we're mature enough, we can try to connect the dots looking back. In my life, if I were to think, I can look back at something when I was 18, 19 years old, and again when I was 20 years old, I was 30 years old, looking back at the pattern, like what worked for me, especially when something was really hard, what did I do that helped me to get to where I wanted to get to. And in this year 2024, I really want to transform myself. Especially they say that when some traumatic experience happens, which like last year it did for me, and it's interesting, the word T, trauma and transformation, both starts with T, maybe for a reason. So a couple of days ago when I saw a video, the lady, I forgot her name, it was a TED talk, she talked about how when traumatic experience happens, you can either negate it and move away from the situation, or you have the option to transform it. Because if you just negate it or try to do a little bit better, it's like resiliency. But when you completely transform yourself, that is more powerful. And the example in that video she gives is when resilience is more like in your house. Let's say you have to change the roof. When you change the roof, you have to change the washing machine. You change the washing machine and things go, something happens and you fix it, and that makes you more resilient. But trauma is like when tornado happens and then your house gets leveled, and instead of going away and trying to find or buy a different house or finding a different solution altogether, you decide to stay there and you rebuild the whole house. And that is harder, that is much harder, but that is what helps you to transform yourself. And in some way, shape, or form, that's what I'm trying to do, because we as ourselves, if we feel that we have challenges in different parts of our life, and especially if there's a pattern, doesn't matter where we do, what we do, where we are, and things like that, those patterns are going to repeat. Only way to live a more peaceful life and break the pattern is to change ourselves. And it is much harder than the other solution, but something that is harder is what is actually good for life. Easy route, or route, whichever way you say, American English or UK English, easy route will take you to a place, but maybe even you'll reach there faster, but the challenges will keep coming. More challenges will keep coming because you don't really know how to overcome those challenges or how to tolerate those challenges. Whereas the harder path you get to learn, like in mindfulness they say, is that the problems still happen either way, either go this way or that way, but the mindfulness and the spirituality, all of that helps you to tolerate those more easily. Tolerate meaning not in a bad way, but it doesn't bother you anymore. And ultimately that's what we mean by peace, or when some bad thing happens, you are more easily able to let it go, because mindfulness teaches you the concentration. And when you can concentrate on the good more and concentrate on the bad less, that's when life becomes more peaceful, because good and bad will keep happening in life, but what's more important is having the thought towards the good and concentrating more towards good, and that's when the life becomes more peaceful. So that's what I'm trying to learn from all these different books, and doing these videos on a regular basis, keeping myself on track with this journey. And I'm grateful that I have a few friends who also try to do that. and my family also, we are trying to do just a different versions of it, but um, we're trying to do that. um, yeah, if you are in your midlife now, it doesn't have to be in your midlife can start when you're in 20s, or normally it's after 40. um, Finding something that you can ground yourself. If you believe in God, spirituality is good. If not, something else that you can hold on to when things go crazy, but some sort of constant and is helpful. Some very good friends. I was watching a Buddhism video this morning, and he was emphasizing, the monk was emphasizing in that video that the saying that they have, we are the blend of 5 people. That actually was originally said by Jim Rohn, I think, who was Tony Robbins' teacher. And then Tony Robbins says this, I think, you are the blend of, he doesn't say blend, he says, I think, you are who you spend most of your time with, which is true too. It doesn't have to be 5 people. If you're spending 80% of the time with, let's say, your spouse, and only 20% of the time with just 4 or 5 other people, so you will be more like your spouse than the other people. So it's more like who you spend most of your time with is generally you tend to become. But again, it's not hard and fast rule, but it's more like that, because our thought energies, they kind of go from one person to the other, and more people you're associated with, like closely, those thought energies will go back and forth, and that's how the concept goes. So anyway, so in that video he said, keep in touch with those people who inspire you to be better, to do better, and things like that. So it's something very important. So in your life, and it made me think also, because sometimes as life gets busy, we don't really either we don't really remember or take the time to keep in touch with those people, because sometimes as our life is hard, they might be going through something difficult in their lives. Just to reach out and say hi, how they're doing and stuff like that can help. So keep in touch with the good friends, especially who supported in our bad times. Keeping in touch with them is important, and also people who supported in our good times, because you never know who can help you when you really need it. In Dale Carnegie book, he says that, always help other people, so that when you need help, there is somebody who is there to lend you a hand. So yeah, it's important to help others, to be kind and compassionate to others. Yeah, that goes with some of the mantra that I wrote down, 5 mantra. The one is, I will accept the things that I can't change. Number 2, I'll try to stay in the present moment. If I go to the past, I'll think of the good memories. If I go to the future, I'll think of the good things. Number 3, I forgive all the challenging events and the people associated with it, and I'll find the good in every situation. Number 5 is, I'll try to be kind and compassionate towards all beings at all times. I have been repeating this several times a day. Sometimes, most of the times, I think these days, when I get up in the morning, I try to say it the very first thing in the morning, and I think it has been having a good impact in me. Saying it in the morning and before going to bed and throughout the day, it does change the way I respond. Also makes me a little bit more patient around Alice, my 8-year-old daughter. So it's good. I gotta keep doing that. So I'm going to take a few deep breaths. I know it ended up being a long video. Usually in the evening when I make this video, they're like only a couple of minutes, but today somehow it ended up being a long one. But anyway. Yeah, taking a few deep breaths throughout the day is important, because sometimes when we don't take a deep breath, we don't even realize that there might be tension in our shoulders. We don't even realize it until we notice it, and we don't feel our whole body. And it's important to feel the whole body, where our toes are touching and the legs are touching, and how it's feeling on our skin, hot, cold. We just sometimes say when the temperature is hot, oh, it's really hot. We feel it in our skin, it's important. So when I do these videos, it kind of forces me to focus on those senses, and I'm glad that it does that, because in Buddhism, and Thich Nhat Hanh talks about Sangha a lot. Eventually, hopefully, I can get more into the meditation groups and stuff when my schedule gets a little bit better with less doctor's appointments. But I wanted to make sure that I don't give up this practice, and that was one of the biggest reasons I started this channel. And I'm so grateful that I'm getting some support from the people who are subscribing and commenting, and I'm so grateful for that. Thank you to all of you. And if any of you who are also in this type of journey, I would encourage do journaling, either writing it down or YouTube videos, or even private videos, whatever works for you, some sort of journaling or gratitude practice. All of this really does help. So yeah, and if you want to comment here and let me know if there is any way I can help, to being like, sometimes we ourselves, we need like a accountability friend or something. I could help each other out through comments or something. I do that with my friends. I check on my friend checks on me, that if we're doing the practice, because it's important. And when life gets in the way, it's very easy to give up. But when somebody is there who is also doing similar type of practice, it doesn't have to be same. It does help us to stay on track. And ultimately, it's nothing other than finding some peace, because when life gets into this stage in midlife and after, there's a lot that goes on in our head, because there's like too much information, and sometimes it can be overwhelming, and this kind of thing helps. So let's help each other out by doing whatever we can, even if it's a 5 minutes a day practice, or just 1 minute breathing every day. Try it. It'll help to keep your mind and body in peace. Okay, with that, I'm going to finish the video, and tomorrow, I don't know, it's a surgery day, so I might make a super quick one in the morning, just for the habit's sake. I might do it, and hopefully everything goes well tomorrow. And then I'll see, maybe in the evening I'll try to do a video. We're supposed to be back in the afternoon sometime. Yeah. Okay, bye.